Hey guys, Kieran here with Explorminate, and welcome to the third part of at least this gameplay footage here for the part of the series. We're going to jump right back in as the PHC, and we're about to win. As you can see, that top meter in the middle of the screen is mostly full, and we are wrecking shop. Now, while the orange group, that opponent does have more points, a lot of that, again, is money they've invested in those static defenses, which is not bad. It means I'm not going to be able to just go blow through to Orange's base, but it's not going to win them, right? They need that mobility of those troops forward to be able to take those points. And so we're sitting pretty happy here. Just working around taking this spot. At this point, it's, well, like I said, it's a done deal. If I had been smart, and I didn't do this, I would have probably been expanding out to the right a little bit, down in that area if possible, or up to the left. And when I say expanding, actually securing the resources and such. My strategic bombers did fly down here. You can see they have a lot of buildings. My logistics are blocked, so I was just trying to get my strategic bombers killed finally. I figure out just go bloody their nose while we take this, so I can continue building troops. And then down here, I'm going to make an inconsistent push. So be prepared for kind of a non-committed push. Turns out the enemy nexus can regenerate pretty fast. At least this one. I didn't remember seeing any repair bots or anything, but that's what's coming up. That's basically the highlight of the video, is me just wrecking shop. Because I have about one at this point, and I actually do end up drawing it out here a little more than I needed to. I got a little greedy, which is fine. It didn't almost cost me the battle or anything, but you will see me split my armies. So it is a good thing to point out, though, just how strong the defenses are, because I don't really just plow my troops headlong into any defenses in this series, which is probably smart. It's pretty dumb to do so, right? But we did talk about earlier how some of those static defenses can be as powerful even as dreadnoughts. Well, you'll see the Nexus here basically fight off my second army. So I bring my first army back in and make some changes there. So, and that's just a Nexus, right? That's not an upgraded line of turrets or anti-air cannons or anything like that, right? Still just pushing down, showing off the map a little bit here so you can see the lines indicating, hey, do I have a straight connection to keep that supply line in things? And then again, the map there. The supply lines, that's one thing I definitely need to improve on, and I think that will probably be something that differentiates really good players and not so good players to this game. Would be the latter, unfortunately, right now, because your armies move so slow. You're looking for those little victories, right? And you can't always push the engagements or find where the enemy is. And if you do, they might be so far away. Cutting off supply points and using orbital strikes, incursions, things like that would be how you do that. Now, one thing that would be fun to assist with that, I think it would be cool if there was an option with the gunships to make them transports, fast deployable troops. They don't have that, and I don't know if that would unbalance the game. I'm sure that's probably been thought of before. Look at my little gunship there, just pew 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 and taking stuff out. That is one way you could facilitate that, because cutting off supply lines is a little tough right now. But who knows what the future of the series will bring. Rolling in here with my frigates, cruisers, and both my dreadnoughts. Again, strategic bombers just trying to go to town, actually taking out the defenses. So nothing new. At this point, I'm just queuing up troops and just making sure I finish that victory. Now, I didn't notice right here, you probably do now, I'm no longer generating points. And I think the reason for that is the point I hold is cut off. So there's an interesting thing. My force is away, and I'm not generating points because I don't have a line from, that's what, the bottom southeastern portion of that triangle, those 3 points. I don't control that. And the area above it. So therefore I do own it, but I'm not getting the capture points. So they are stalling me from victory, which is a pretty smart move by the AI. I don't know if it was necessarily, if I'm giving the AI too much credit, that they made one last ditch attempt to stop me and that's what it was, or if it's just left unprotected, right? Regardless, though, goes along with my strategy I kind of pointed out earlier. So here I'm getting a little greedy. This is what I refer to, where I'm pulling my troops back. I'm just going to have 2 keep working at it. But when I do that, the Nexus is going to start regenerating faster than I can kill it. See right there, I've realized, oh no, I'm not getting any capture points. That's embarrassing. Because the game is over. You see the capture points are like glowing and things. That's when it's hit its like critical mass. It's practically done. It's all but over, and we're just missing that here. And then another thing to point out with the whole King of the Hill point, the mode here, I think is kind of interesting. We started out with 3 points. We now have 5. Where those others come from is if you control the old spot where the AI Nexus was before you completely blew it up. That gives you a control point, which is kind of an interesting incentive for playing offensively, right? You can add another control point. You can change the dynamic of the game. If they just have the middle lockdown so well, static defenses, it's not necessarily over. You can go take the Nexus out and add points. So that's a cool, I think, way they've looked at that game, at this particular game mode. Enemy Dreadnought, of course, just went down. Allies are rolling in there. At this point, I'm looking at like, why is this Nexus not dead? What's going on? Am I losing guys? Do I need to take out the defenses? And it takes me a second to figure out that I think I'm just not doing enough firepower is what it was. So we wait there for a moment. But yeah, let's, I guess we got a couple minutes left here. There's really not too much to narrate that you're going to see, so let me just do a few recaps here. Hopefully, you know, a few things from this I want you to see, because part of the reason, you know, I always do these videos is if you're on the fence and you're wondering if this game's for me, I want to kind of give you an idea of if it is or isn't, right? So a couple takeaways. The economy management is not too complex, and it's all based on volume. So that definitely strengthens the game. That might turn some people off. They might want a more complex economic system, not sure. But I feel like it really fits for this. Also, you know, thinking between these movies and the recordings, my analysis and things, has definitely brought up that there's a little bit more depth to this game than you're going to see. A few of those things I want to point out. One is the, and I think I talked about this in an earlier video, what is it? The entrenchment bonus, so you take less damage if you're in a friendly territory. That could really open you up to having huge armies, because you would need huge armies to punch through the line. You know, think like World War I, right? Or some kind of lucky break. That's a really fun way to play. You can also play without air units. You know, the strategic bombers here I've seen are just like, those things are really tough. And I just honestly haven't invested the time in trying to figure out a counter because the enemy doesn't, but you know, there are options to turn off air units and things. So I think this game has a lot to offer in terms of that. Also with the orbital abilities and things, I feel like there is a definite strength for online multiplayer with people. You can think outside of the box a little bit really to work around some of these sticky situations, you know, work around that big glob of units and things like that, right? All in all, though, a pretty good game here. It's kind of funny, though. This was the 3rd time I played this due to just some recording errors. So it did definitely go a little better than the previous 2 because I kind of had an idea what the AI was going to do. So I did want to mention that just based on the fact that if you're playing the same map with the same setups, the AI, if it's the same difficulty, seems to work in about the same parameters, which is interesting, right? When you play a typical 4X game, if you reload it, obviously you're going to have different starting positions, but I feel like there's probably a lot more that can go different as opposed to an RTS like this, right? Which is fine. I don't think that's necessarily a handicap of a game, again, because the AI difficulty ramp up there, I'm not even to like the midpoint. And the AI is already pretty good, I think. I mean, not like, how do I say this? When I say pretty good, I'm still learning the game, right? As I learn, I'm sure more flaws may become apparent, although those are usually a lot easier to cover up with RTS games, right? But definitely satisfactory. I don't think the AI is lacking necessarily. So, victory screen, hooray! You'll see here. I'm going to go through some of these. Definitely just outproduced the enemy in terms of the economy. And then the very last column, the quanta there, I invested way more. So not only did I have more troops because I had more money, my troops were, you know, I had about a 200% damage and health bonus. So just trashing the field with them. And then I looked at the graphs there for a second, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, really, the rise and fall of your empires are going to go along with successfully managing that macro, putting out troops, and slowly expanding your resource pool so you can outproduce your opponents. Is what it comes down to. But anyhow, yeah. So that's the wrap there for this. So 3 little video series of Ashes here. Pretty good. I feel like a pretty interesting game. Overall, hopefully you enjoyed watching it, answered a few of your questions. But yeah, I'm not sure here what else we'll do. I'd like to do one more video, but we'll see. It's probably just be a single video here as a recap of sorts. I don't think I'm going to cover the campaign. That's something I'll leave for you to uncover. Not really for spoilers or anything, but it doesn't demonstrate a whole lot different from what you've seen here. But yeah, so anyhow, thank you for watching this. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. If a couple things, one, what you think about the game, whether you've had it or not, and then two, how does this format work for you guys? This is something Army P kind of started here. I know I'm kind of piggybacking off of his idea. Definitely, he's done this with a couple of games, and I like it because it's a way for us to cover games in a different medium than we normally do, and especially those kind of more, they're strategy, but they're not full on 4X and things like that, right? So, anyways, just always love the feedback, but do appreciate as always you watching. Thank you for watching again. That's why I do this. That's why we do this here at Explorminate. So stay tuned for more stuff on YouTube, our website, and of course, if you're not part of our Steam group, we always got good discussions going on there. So thanks for everything, guys, and until next time, we'll catch you then. Thanks.